So in the last one we got to here with the frame, we went ahead and we mounted up a rear shock, still waiting on the replacement one on the right side there. And our forks mounted up to the triple tree and stuff like that, new bearings in the steering, nice fresh grease in our pivot for a swing arm, all that good stuff. Received some parts this week, so we got wheel bearings front and back, brake pads for the front. Our spokes showed up. They were 237mm spokes for the front, 207mm for the rear. That's what $100 Canadian worth of spokes looks like. And then our rims are still on the way from Thailand. They are currently in Vancouver and should get to this side of the country hopefully mid-late next week. So today we're going to have a look at degreasing and cleaning up the front rear hubs, getting those sandblasted, primed and painted, and then we're probably going to start looking at cleaning up the motor. So let's move forward. So it's been about a month or so since I had the motor running. What I want to do, I want to get it running today, but one thing that I have is this part right here, and this is the proper muffler packing that goes down where we put all this tin foil and tape and whatnot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this apart quickly, get the muffler packing in there, cinch this back together, put the muffler back on the motor, and we're going to fire the motor up just to see how it runs with the proper packing on it, and then we'll do a bit of quick tune, and then we'll get back to the hub. So there's our makeshift muffler packing. So I'm gonna pull all this crap off now and go get the proper packing on, get that put back in. So you can see how the muffler packing is really smooth. Sits really nice and firmly around the pipe, really nice, the tolerance is nice and tight. So now this end goes into this end like so, but since I had this squashed up a bit, because I used the tin foil and the muffler tape and stuff, I'm just going to open this up a tiny bit with a wrench so this stuff will slide in, and then I can get everything tightened up, put back together. Be careful because that one is pretty pliable. You don't want to go stretching that too far and snapping it off. So now, hopefully this goes right in. For the most part, we're probably going to bring the outside ones out a bit more, and then we should be good to go. Actually, this looks bent a bit, so I'm going to put a bit of a squish on that. Okay, so starting to give it a little bit of resistance now, so I'm going to put that back in the bike so we can get everything lined up, and we'll tighten it up. Gloves. Gloves are perfect for it. So I'll just hang on to the muffler. Like I said, once more I'll give it a kick. Let's do a run for a second, and then we'll get back to cleaning up our hubs. Okay, let's keep getting some actual work done. So the first thing I want to do is just, pop out the seals, pop out the bearings, pop our levers off and whatnot, pop the speedo gear out. Then we'll go ahead and we'll give this a good blast with our brake cleaner. Get on it with a toothbrush, get it nice and cleaned up. And at that point, we should be good to sandblast this. So that's our speedo gear, looking good, nice and clean. It looks like there's little or no wear, and I think it looks pretty new. Thing looks like new, we'll say. So continuing on. Before I put this back in the bag, I'm just going to take a little bit of grease so I can stick that to there, so that way it'll have a tendency to stay on this and not get bent up if I toss something else in, or if it's just sitting there loose. So when things get really crusty, I know like a lot of this stuff was zinc plated so it wouldn't rust. I mean, there's still a bit of rust on it. It is 40 years old almost. But I like to hit it with the wire wheel on the grinder just to clean it off. And then when I go ahead and reassemble, I'll just coat it with a bit of light oil and it should be good. See, now that looks a lot better. You can even see the little directional arrow on the tab there. So yeah, like I said, when I reinstall this on the bike, I'll just go ahead and hit this with a light coat of light oil, like a 3-in-1 or something, and that should be good to keep this from rusting. Like for some of the larger parts, like the brake actuators, like this on the front and on the back, I might either prime and paint these silver, the same way we're doing like the shocks and whatnot, that nice silver color, or I'm even considering potentially trying to do like my own nickel plating setup. So you gotta buy like nickel phosphate saws or some other thing like this. You set up a battery on it and you set up your anode and your cathode, and you essentially just let electricity do the work for you by nickel plating all your parts, and they come in really nice. So that's something I can give some thought to, and if you want to leave a comment on it, if you've done that before, or if it's something you'd like to see happen, then leave a comment and we can discuss it. So to this point, I got most of the grease cleaned into the hub here, so I can get a good angle with the light there. I got all the grease cleaned off the speedo gear. So next thing I want to do is I want to knock bearings and like the inner axle housing out of this. Once I get that done, I'm going to go ahead and tape this hole shut, tape this hole shut, get tape over this here, over this here, over these couple holes here, and and then we'll go ahead and we'll get it sandblasted. Oh! Hit me right in the dick. In looking at the inside of this, you can see the surface that of the drum that the brake shoes sit on. It's kind of rusted. I don't think I'm going to sandblast that section, but what I might do is just hit that with some light sandpaper. So I might go 320. Once I get the sandblasted anyways, I'll go 320, and then I'll go 600 to take any big scratches out of it, and that should bring that back down to a decent finish. And then when our new brake pads sit on that, they should grip it really well. I mean, they grip it well anyways now, and that will wear off. But this is just me being me, wanting to clean that up a bit before we put it back together. So I'm going to dry this off, take these two things up, and start getting them sandblasted. So the front hub is done and cleaned up, ready to be taped up and sandblasted. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to disassemble and clean up the rear hub. And how much of that you see depends on how long it's going to take me to do this. So I'll let the camera run. We'll probably give you some fast forward action of that, and then we'll bring it back when the time comes to get some sandblasting done. And that's why you should wear gloves when you're driving a screwdriver toward your own fingers. This is extra crusty, so I'm going to go ahead and just hit this with some of my the Zep degreaser that I have, and scrub it before I start hitting it with the brake clean and stuff. In the meantime, I'll just go away and do this, and when I come back, I'll be ready to do some sandblasting. Halfway point check. Got this side cleaned up, so now I'm just going to go around the inside of the hub, and then we'll knock the bearings out and get it sandblasted. Okay, so we got our bag of cleaned up rear hub hardware. Rear hub's here, front hub is there. They're both ready to be taped up, so we can start sandblasting and get those cleaned up. So I spent about 20 minutes or so getting all the stuff taped up that we want to protect when we get this into the sandblaster. So I am going to sandblast these inner surfaces, but not inside the hub. Outside here is good. We got our screws or our studs covered up, the holes covered up. Same thing, your holes covered up. We're going to get all this, try to get this rim here. And this tape will stay on through priming and painting as well. And then same thing with our rear hub. We got this taped up. This is all getting blasted where our rubber grommets are, where the sprocket attaches, so it's not so jarring. That's all taped up, and the holes taped up as well. And then the hub part where the sprocket sits over there, I just put a bit of tape on that as well because I don't want to blast that surface directly. So, over to okay, so that's our rear hub and front hub, sandblasted and ready for paint. Well, sandblasted, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and hit those with some brake cleaner, get them rinsed off, go ahead and wipe them down with a bit of the acetone we got there, and we're going to go ahead and get some etching primer on these parts. So let's hit this side with a bit of the old etching primer. And then we'll go ahead and, do the other side once this is dry. So there we go. That's etching primer this side. Come back in the morning with a fresh can, get the other side, then we'll get this stuff painted. So last night before I went to bed, I came out and I flipped these over and I got the other sides done as well. So now you can see we got both sides now primed and ready for some gloss black. So I'm gonna hit these with gloss black, couple coats on this side, flip them, couple coats on that side. Then we'll go flip again and get them with some clear coat. So I'm gonna want these to be a bit resilient versus the wheels. Okay, we'll call that coat one. Things are looking nice and glossy. We'll let it dry for 10 or 15 minutes. And we'll come back and hit it with a second light coat and we'll flip everything over once it's dry again. Okay, so quick coat number 2 on the side. So I'm going to give these a quick go with some clear coat now. I just painted this side of this, so that's not getting any clear coat right now, but these 4 pieces will. And when I flip these over, that's when I'll start hitting this one with some clear. Okay, clear coat number 1. Pop back out again in a half hour or so, hit clear coat number 2, and then these parts get to spend the night drying. So here we go with coat number 2, some clear, and then once we get this on, we'll be setting this stuff aside because it's going to be a day or so drying up, and then once it's done drying, we can start go ahead and putting it back together. But I'd say that's going to be it for this video. So let's get this under, let's set it up so it'll be left alone to dry for a day. Now I'm going to flip the rear hub over because it's still going to need a little bit on the other side. These other pieces are good because their other sides are the same. Well, I can flip this one, do the other side of this one too. These 2 are fine because the other sides are just the insides and we don't need to clear that. Okay, so like I said, the only thing remaining now is clear coat on the spoke piece for the front hub. But other than that, we can let this stuff dry, and this stuff will be ready for reassembly. Just as I was about to start rendering my video, I checked the tracking status on my rims, and they tried to deliver them on Friday, and I didn't even realize. So, figured I'd just close the video out with a little shot of the shiny new aluminum rims. So these, now that our hubs are out in the garage drying, they should be ready in a couple days. We'll be able to lace up these wheels. So once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.